Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Hey, happy Thursday.
Yeah.
Oh, that's Parmesan, if you, yeah, and then parsley and basil.
Thomas Garden.
Nice.
There's I mean, the sound. Miss.
Ooh, a little bit of echo there. Nice. Cool. How's everybody doing?
Happy to be here.
Good. I'm glad to have you.
Computer.
Guys ready to drink some Zinfandel?
Always.
Exactly.
Or are you already drinking it? I guess I should ask because
We are
I know you guys.
we already drinking it, and we're in New Jersey, and we had like real pizza because we're in New Jersey.
Wow. Nice. Um, yeah, how's everybody doing? Like what's it like where you're at right now? It's been beautiful weather for me for the past couple of days here in Pennsylvania. We did have some rain yesterday, but that was much needed. We've been going through kind of like a drought situation here in the Philadelphia area, so we needed a little bit of rain. But absolutely beautiful today. It's like 80 degrees in Pennsylvania. How about for you guys?
Same here in the South Jersey.
Yeah, I love this time of year, and it's not too hot, not too cold. We're right on the cusp of things. This is where I like to be, especially for drinking some good hearty red wines. Cool. I think we're growing, I mean growing slowly, but it's the group is getting bigger, and I think that's because people are back now. So from being away for summer travels and stuff like that. And I think a few of you may have referred some friends to join us too. So if that is the case, let me know because I owe you a $10 discount for the next tasting. So we have a little friends and family referral program. So that's my sales pitch. If you refer a friend to join us for one of our tastings, I'll give you $10 off on the next tasting. So let me know because I can't always keep track of who is related to whom. So if I owe you $10, let me know and I'll give you a code for the next tasting. All right. Don't be afraid to speak up.
Do our video on.
You don't? Oh, will you fix it?
There you guys are. How's New Jersey treating you?
Great.
And we got here Tuesday. It's great. We were in Center City last night for dinner.
Yeah, where'd you go?
A BYO called Mercado, like
Oh
12
yeah.
Bruce.
Hmm.
It was good Italian food.
Yeah. Mercado's nice. I love Philadelphia. I know people have some strong opinions about the city, mostly people who have never been here before. But
Yeah.
if you live in the Pennsylvania area and you live around Philadelphia, it's a wonderful city. Yeah, our people are definitely a little rough around the edges, but they're good people. Well, welcome everybody. Um, I may have to occasionally let somebody else in the group. I think we may have one or two joining us. It's a Thursday, so um, sometimes people are a little late. Might be out on the road, rushing home. There we go. There's one more. Edgar Hess. Do I know Edgar? Have we had Edgar in the group, or is he new?
They're recording it.
Okay. I saw
Edgar.
a little. My computer decided to update 5 minutes before 7.
No, yeah, that's fine. Is it Ed or Edgar? What do you prefer?
Ed, please.
Okay, Ed. Yeah, welcome. Really nice to have you. Don't worry about it too much, but just if you join us in the future, Zoom always has updates. Like I've gotten in the habit of like checking before every one of these meetings because there's always there's just always an update. So
Yep.
yeah.
Yep.
Well, I'm glad you could make it. Thank you,
Yeah.
everybody.
I'm also here with my wife, Nancy, and our friends, Jim and Maureen.
Hi, guys.
Hi.
Hi, guys.
Hello.
Okay, I'm just writing this down so I can know all of your names too. Uh, Ed, Nancy, Jim, and Maureen.
Yeah.
Alrighty up.
I'm just gonna say hi to everybody I didn't know if I could see everybody.
There you go.
Is that Nancy?
No, it's
That would be
Maureen.
Maureen.
Oh, hi, Maureen.
I'm the shy one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty good for shy. All right. So I think we have everybody. There may be one more person. Like I said, the group is growing, which is nice. And it's good to have you all on a cool Thursday here in Pennsylvania, at least, for some Zinfandel and Primitivo. I'm really excited about these. And we're going to do the format that seems to be working for us is the one that we've been doing for the past three tastings, where I'm going to give you a little background information. I have a slide deck, and I'll be very quick about it, and then we're just going to go right into the tasting. So if you're already drinking, no worries. That's to be expected, and actually, I encourage it. So that way, you're kind of pre-tasting before we get to the actual tasting part. So you're kind of forming opinions, and you're forming a picture of which wines you prefer, the different flavor aspects of each one of them. So yeah, go ahead and pre-taste. It's like pre-gaming, right? Cool. And if anybody has anything they want to ask about or talk about, you can either put it in the chat or you can unmute your mic since it's such a small group, and you can ask me directly, and pretty much an open forum. So go ahead and ask away or add comments or thoughts as we go along. So I'm going to share my screen as I do, and we're going to get right into it here. Can you all see this? Let's talk about Zinfandel. This is just a short timeline. One of the things that is really interesting about Zinfandel is that when people think of it, they often think that it's an American grape, or they think of California first and foremost, but this actually has a long and mysterious history that only came to light in the last couple of decades. So it's very interesting. We've talked about this guy here in the corner many times over the years when we've done our tastings. Do you recognize the name Agustin Horasti at all? Does anybody know who this guy is? Ed, you're shaking your head. Yes. Since you're the new guy, I'm going to pick on you. Do you know who he is?
I know he's a famous wine guy from the 19th century, and
Correct.
I guess he was thought to have brought Zinfandel here, which I see
Yes.
from some of your notes. Maybe he didn't really.
Yeah. Agustin Horasti was from Hungary, and he was considered, even in some circles in California, they call him the grandfather of California wine. And he was sort of a larger than life character, who I think was even mayor of San Francisco at one point in the 1800s, but he actually lost his position because he was accused of embezzling money. So he actually was the mayor of San Francisco, and he lost that job. But he was quite a colorful character, and he did have a lot to do with the wine industry in Sonoma. As a matter of fact, he founded Buena Vista Winery. So for the enophiles out there, you wine geeks, Buena Vista was one of the very first wineries to ever exist in Sonoma. I think it was 1835, or maybe a little later than that when it was established. And it was because of that character there, Agustin Horasti. But he kind of stole a lot of credit for bringing some of the European grapes to the United States. And Zinfandel was one of them. So for years and years, everybody just kind of assumed that because he brought all these European grapes to America, he probably was the guy who brought Zinfandel over here too. It was actually an author, a wine author who's written several really good books about Napa and Sonoma wine, California wine history, named Charles Sullivan, that did a little digging. And when he dug deeper, he found that through Horasti's notes and his recordings that he never mentioned the grape Zinfandel at all. So it turns out that it wasn't actually he who brought it to the United States. What he did find instead was that in the 1820s, long before Agustin Horasti came to prominence in California, the grape was being imported from Austria from an imperial nursery, and it was being imported to Long Island. There was a guy who sold agricultural products. His name escapes me. I should have put it down here, but he was importing these from Austria, and he was using them as table grapes. So in the Boston region and on the Northeast, in the Northeast of the United States, these grapes were being used as table grapes, and they were being called Zinfandel at the time, Z-E-N. So it existed long before Agustin Horasti, and it actually made its way to California during the gold rush. So during the gold rush, we had all these people rushing, as the word describes, out to California to pursue gold and wealth and land, of course, too. It was part of the manifest destiny era of our history. And a lot of people were moving out to California in search of wealth. And along the way, they took a lot of produce with them, and the Zinfandel grape being one of them. So it was planted during the gold rush in Napa and Sonoma, and it became the wine of choice for miners. One of the reasons for this is because it's known to produce wines of very high alcohol. So it's a pretty rustic, can be a real kick in the pants. I mean, 18, 19%, some of these Zinfandels they were producing back in the day, really high alcohol. Something that, like a real tough person out there in the new territory would probably want to drink, served at saloons and taverns in California at the time. So it became a very popular choice of wine.
I got the.
Oh, somebody have a question? No? Okay. Little glitch there. And of course, during Prohibition, most of the California wine industry, I should say, became defunct. So they had a real problem. There were literally hundreds of wineries in Sonoma and Napa that went out of business during Prohibition. One way to stay afloat and to survive was to make either like bootleg wine kits or sell what they would call home grape juice kits. And I'm going to show you a picture of this in a minute, which is pretty cool. But they used to sell these bricks of dehydrated grapes, and they would send them all across the country to people. And the instructions on the brick would say, this is great for making wonderful grape juice, but do not add yeast to this and do not let this ferment because it'll become alcoholic. And that would be unlawful. So we don't want you to do that. So essentially, they were sort of using reverse psychology to spell out how to make your own wine at home. So these bricks and these dehydrated grape bricks became very, very popular during the Prohibition era. And it's actually how Robert Mondavi, or at the time, that would be Cesare Mondavi, who was the patriarch of the Mondavi wine industry, or wine empire. He was actually the one who made his fortune selling these Prohibition era bricks to people. They had friends in Chicago, in the middle part of the United States, and they had a huge distribution network by rail. And they used to distribute these wine bricks, these dehydrated grapes and wine kits all across the United States during Prohibition. And that's how the Mondavi family and the Mondavi winery came into prominence and became one of the strongest and most prominent wineries in the United States after Prohibition. In the 1970s, obviously, we have Sutter Home, which kind of kicked off a really bad era in time for the Zinfandel grape. Not a very good reputation. Some people still like it. There's that cheap Sutter Home type white Zinfandel. What are some of the others? Elmo Pio, Rio Niti, I think was very popular at the time. But these were all sort of like blush versions of the grape, and they were usually very sweet and very cheap, sold in jug format. And they did a lot to harm the reputation of Zinfandel during the 70s and the 80s. So it isn't until the 1990s that a woman by the name of Dr. Carol Meredith, who worked at UC Davis, California, she is an ampelographer. Her job is actually to trace the genetic roots of grapes. So she's actually sort of like a grape geneticist. She's done it for several other grapes in the wine world, but her claim to fame is she traced back the Zinfandel roots, and she traced them to Italy, where she found that they were directly related to a grape there called Primitivo, which we will be drinking tonight. So in scanning the region for the roots of this grape, they actually went to Croatia too, and they found that there was another grape there called Plavik Mali. And Plavik Mali was a cross of Zinfandel and another grape called Dobrzyk. And they figured, if we're finding traces of this Zinfandel in Croatia, that would mean that it had to be here. So in digging further and digging deeper, they further traced to the coast of Croatia near Split, and they found grapes, almost just a few parcels of them, less than an acre in total, of these ancient, almost extinct grapes. They were calling them locally, they were calling them either Tribodrag or Kroljenak Kastelanski. So those are the two ancestors and the direct origins of the Zinfandel grape. So from Croatia to the southern part of Italy to Long Island and then to California. Pretty cool. Any questions or comments?
One comment. I've had two or maybe it was three longtime California Zinfandel guys, Ted Sagazio and
Mhm.
Rocchioli, told me if it hadn't been for white Zinfandel, there'd be no Zinfandel today because it all would have gotten ripped up. They've actually said that to me, Mark.
Yes.
That thank God for white Zinfandel. Now they weren't defending white Zinfandel, you understand?
Obviously,
But
no,
just-
no, but it was
But they said everybody was growing Zinfandel to sell white Zinfandel, and they've got all these ancient vines still because they didn't rip them up.
yeah, that was the only thing that kept it afloat at that period of time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and actually we'll get into it a little bit more when we talk about the Primitivo, but this was something that was happening in Puglia, the southern part of Italy too. The European Union, there was such a glut of wine in the 80s and the 70s that the European Union was, well, the European Union didn't exist until the 90s, so it would be more like the 80s and the 90s. But the European Union was incentivizing winemakers to rip up their grapes because they were just producing too much of it and nobody was buying it, and the quality was so low. So at some point in the 80s or the 90s, I believe, they were actually subsidizing these farmers to rip up all their grapes in the southern part of Italy. So yeah, Primitivo almost became extinct as well too. So it's amazing how this grape has survived over time. Let's take a look at this real quick. This is just a little panel that I did with some interesting images on it. So here's the book by Charles Sullivan that talks about the history. If you guys want to dig in deeper, if anybody in the group is a reader, it's a pretty easy read, but it's a history of Zinfandel. And this is the book where he wrote that he found that it actually came through Long Island. Now over here is a picture of one of those grape bricks that I was telling you about. So there were probably a dozen or more of these large producers during Prohibition that made these, and the Mondavi family was one of them. This Vino Sano was another brand here too. But if you look closely, Vino Sano grape bricks, port, sherry, Rhine, Burgundy flavors. Each brick dissolved in a gallon of water produces a gallon of unfermented non-alcoholic. You notice that they're emphasizing that because they didn't want to get in trouble. Punch juice. Prevent fermentation. Add 1 to 10% benzoate of soda. So if you didn't have benzoate of soda on hand in your house, the grape juice would probably start naturally fermenting on its own in making wine in the process. So essentially, they're telling you if you just make this and leave it alone, it's going to ferment and turn into wine. So they're sort of using reverse psychology to protect themselves there. But that was the way they did it back in the day. And that got a lot of people through Prohibition, a very sad time. Down here in the corner, this is just a shot of one of the vineyards in Split, Croatia. And it shows you how close it is to the ocean, the Adriatic. And this is where the Zinfandel grape thrives. It thrives in cooler climates, on hillsides where it gets lots of sun exposure. It doesn't like to have wet roots, so it likes dry, well-drained soil. And it prefers these climates where you sort of get hot during the day and cold at night, just like California. And this woman here is Dr. Carol Meredith. She is the ampelographer who is responsible for tracing the genetic roots of Zinfandel back to Italy and then back to Croatia. And she and her husband actually have their own winery. I think it's called Pot, P-O-T-T Wines. And from what I understand, they're pretty high quality. I think they're kind of like the Turley family. Like they have such pedigree that their wines sell for hundreds of dollars a bottle. Okay. Okay. We're going to talk about the grape and then we'll get drinking. So the wine grape itself, there's 16,000 acres in California, and I believe there's about 30,000 acres in total in Italy. So twice as much in Italy. And you can see here the clusters are pretty long and very small. The berries are pretty small. If you actually had this cluster in front of you right now, it would probably fit in the palm of your hand. That's how small these grapes are. They like warm but not hot weather. When they're grown in hot weather, you get this really high alcohol content. They can really ripen and produce a lot of sugar. And when a wine grape produces a lot of sugar, that's a lot of potential alcohol. So one of the problems with one of the reasons why they were encouraging winemakers to rip up the vines in the southern part of Italy was because the quality was not that good. They were growing it in hot climates. The alcohol levels were through the roof, sometimes 17, 18%, and the quality was pretty low. So you need something that's a little bit more cool and tempered, something more Mediterranean, believe it or not. And Dry Creek Valley in California is like ground zero. So if you're looking for some of the best Zinfandel in California, Dry Creek Valley is that perfect hillside. Those hillside sites. Same with the Croatian regions too. In Split, you're gonna find them all well-drained hillsides. And the one we're gonna have tonight from Puglia, from Italy, is from the Salento region. What to expect as far as flavors are concerned? In the wine business, we use the term jammy quite a bit. Jammy just means that it tastes like jam, like preserves. Very over the top, strong flavors, sometimes a little bit of a sweetness to it. We even sometimes use the descriptor jelly jar. So you just think of a jelly jar, something you would spread on peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Sometimes you're going to get those types of flavors out of a really ripe California Zinfandel. So black fruits, blackberries, raspberries, and cherries, and then sometimes a hint of spice in there. Some people even say cinnamon, pepper, and anise. So we'll see if we get that on the California ones. Then Italy, it's the same as whenever we have these tastings. What you can kind of expect is that the California or American version is probably going to be a little bit more muscular and bold and juicy, whereas the European version is going to be more food oriented. So you're going to get a lot more flavors out of the wine that are something that you would describe like a dish that you would eat for dinner. More herbs, more spices, more savory notes in there. And typically the European versions have a little bit more acidity in them too, because they're designed to be had with food. Okay, that's my spiel. So if you have any questions at this point, we're going to get tasting. Anything you want to add? No? Okay, let's get tasting. We are going to start with the Bedrock Wine Company. I think out of the three of them, this is probably going to be the most direct and simple. And I say that, with all due respect, because they're a great wine producer. I don't know if you know anything about them at all, but this is the son of the guy who started Ravenswood. So if you know Zinfandel, Ravenswood has quite a reputation in the wine world. They do have some approachable, kind of everyday level drinking Zinfandels out there that you'll find on the middle shelf at your wine store. That is not the Ravenswood that we're talking about. Ravenswood started in the 70s, and this guy, Joel Peterson, who created Ravenswood, actually makes some really top-notch stuff. So in the wine world, a lot of respect to Joe Peterson and Ravenswood. So this is his son, Morgan. And his son, Morgan's been with him since he was a kid. So he made his first vintage when he was like 6 years old or something like that. So the guy who's making Bedrock wines has quite the family lineage in the Zinfandel making business. So I expect this to be really top-notch. There's no one single vineyard that they use. So a lot of times you'll see a winery is attached to one specific vineyard. You have the building, and then you have the vineyards next to it. In the case of Bedrock Wine, they're looking around for old vineyards from the 19th and 20th century all over California, and they're working them, and they're building reputations or a relationship with the people who own these vineyards and eventually acquiring them. So they have their own old vine vineyards. This is going to be organic and regenerative organic. So regenerative, what is that? That is, it's a philosophy in organic agriculture that is all about putting things back into the soil. So it's not about just taking away growing fruit or growing crop or produce and then taking from the earth. It's about using systems that actually put things back into the earth while you're doing your farming. So you're using, it's almost in a way, it's almost biodynamic. So you're using sort of like goats to graze the vineyards sometimes, and you're using cover crop on the ground to protect the ground from losing too much moisture and too many nutrients. And in the process, you bring your goats in, the goats graze for a certain part of the season, and they leave their droppings behind, and droppings fertilize the soil. So it's a regenerative system that takes care of itself. You're not just taking from the earth, you're actually taking and giving back at the same time. So that's the philosophy behind regenerative organic farming. And when they say old vine Zinfandel, the average vine age is 80 years old. So this is, you're talking anywhere from 100 years old to 50 years old, 60 years old, somewhere in there. And fruit is coming from Hillsburg, which is in Sonoma Valley, Dry Creek, which we know is sort of the best place for Zinfandel. Contra Costa County is interesting. I don't know does anybody know where Contra Costa is? That is a place you would not expect to find vines. That is on the southern side, the opposite side of Napa Valley. So it's on the other side of the San Pablo Bay, to the south of it. You wouldn't expect there to be vines down there, but there are. Okay, cool. I'll tell you a little bit more about it, but pour yourself some if you haven't already. And let's taste. Now, if you're wondering what Old Vines Zinfandel is, or what Old Vines are, in the wine world, typically in the modern wine world, where they're more about mass production and less focused on quality, you're going to find that the typical grapevine lasts for about 30 years. And at that point, it's worn out. They've exhausted it. It has nothing left to give. So they'll rip it up and they'll plant it. They'll plant the vineyard with something new. In some cases, we had a pest in the 1800s that was growing on the roots of the vines, and it decimated the vines. It's called the phylloxera louse, and it killed a lot of the vines in Europe, and it killed some of the vines in California as well, in which case they had to start over. So it's very rare, but occasionally you'll find vines that survive the phylloxera louse and weren't grubbed up or ripped up, in which case they can be anywhere from 60 to 80 to 100 or more years old. I think there are even instances in the central part of Europe, in places like Georgia and Hungary, where they have vines that are over 1,000 years old. And essentially, the longer a vine lives, it eventually gets almost as thick as a tree trunk. So they get pretty big and they get really gnarly. So you might see there's some gnarly vines. You'll see that term used a lot when it comes to Zinfandel. Old vines or gnarly vines Zinfandel. As a matter of fact, they have something similar on the label of this wine here. This is what they look like as they get older. And the older the vine gets, the less fruit it produces. And there are certain cases where, a 100-year-old vine may only produce 2 clusters of grapes, but the quality is supposed to be very high. So that is why the cost of old grape wines are typically higher, because the grapes there's not as much production, there's not as much fruit, and it takes a lot more effort to harvest them. All right. There's that jelly jar right off the bat, and a little spice too. I'd say some pepper in there on the nose. I get that sort of like juicy juice. I don't know if you guys remember juicy juice from the 90s. Yeah. I don't think they actually had a flavor. I think it was just red. That was the flavor. Okay. Yeah, 14.5% alcohol. There's a little bit of heat in there. You can definitely feel that. And they use native yeast fermentation on these. Native yeast means that they don't use lab cultivated yeast. So a lot of times in the wine industry, they're aiming for consistency when they're making a product year after year. They want to produce the same wine so that customers come back and buy their wine over and over again, so that you know what to expect. So they're using yeasts that are cultivated in a lab, and with the end goal of maintaining control so that they produce the same wine over and over again, year after year. Wild yeasts exist all around us. They're in the air, they're on surfaces, they're on the leaves of plants, they're on our skin, they're on our eyelids. Wild yeasts can also start fermentation, which is why if you accidentally leave a piece of fruit out on the countertop for too long, it'll start to get fizzy, it'll start to bubble, and if you bite into it, it'll actually taste like it actually has carbonation in it. That fruit is fermenting, and that is caused by wild yeast that exists all around us. So this wine is made with wild yeast. They don't add any lab cultivated yeast. They just crush the grapes and they let whatever's in the air, whatever Mother Nature provides, come into the room and start the fermentation process, which usually gives you more earthy and kind of funky flavors, which is why a lot of winemakers don't like wild yeast because they think it's too funky. And lastly, this does not see a lot of oak. Zinfandel can take some oak, but typically winemakers do not add oak to their Zinfandel. It's more of one of those grapes like Pinot Noir where you want to kind of back off on the oak and let the wine shine. What do you guys think of this?
Kind of good. We've been cheating and tasting other wines too. This one's a little less spicy than the next one, but it's very good.
Are you when you say the next one, which one would that be?
The Marietta.
Oh, okay, so you're going to the Marietta. I'm going to do
Yeah,
the
we
Marietta.
cheated a little.
Yeah, no worries. I'm going to do the Marietta last in this sequence. So
Okay.
we're going to go to the Primitivo next. But yes, this one, I think, like I said, is what I expected. It's pretty straightforward. This is what I would expect from 3-year-old, 2-year-old California Zinfandel. It's nice and juicy. It's big. It's got some heat on it from the higher alcohol content. There's definitely some spice on the end of it. I don't know if that's like a peppery spice or more like a baking spice. There's a little, to me, like a plumminess to it, like a ripe plum, and also pomegranate too. That tartness on there. It's not quite the same as a Pinot Noir. For me, when I taste a Pinot Noir and it has that tartness to it, that reminds me more of like dried cranberries sometimes or cranberry juice. This one is to me more like pomegranate. I don't know why. It's just a difference in sensation to me. But that is a blend of probably 6 or 7 different parcels. So it's not an estate grown. It's not a single vineyard. This is multiple vineyards mixed together. And they're doing tasting trials and blending trials where they're probably sitting in a room with like 40 or 50 glasses in front of them, and they're tasting a little bit of the Dry Creek, and they're tasting a little of the Contra Costa, and they're tasting a little bit of the Sonoma Valley, and they're mixing it all in different percentages to get what they perceive to be the ideal blend. Pretty cool. Has anybody ever sat through one of those blending trials before? They're pretty intense. It's usually several days, and it involves a lot of titrating and test tubes and measuring and stuff that's above my pay grade. I did one when I was invited to Riesling camp a couple of years ago up in the Finger Lakes, and they had us make our own Riesling blend. That was really interesting. They gave us like 10 different Rieslings from 10 different vineyards, and they said, go ahead and make your own blend. So it really takes a very refined palate, and also knowing what not only you like, but what your customer, your client might like too, which is just kind of a guessing game. All right. Questions or thoughts about this particular wine, this Bedrock Old Vine Zinfandel? Is anybody in the group new to Zinfandel or new to wine in general? No, everybody here is fairly savvy, I take it. Cool. All right. So if you're familiar with Zinfandel, do you have a favorite? I would be interested in hearing what your favorite producer or region is.
I sure no.
Yo, Luca.
Oh, the one on Georgia.
I am muted you.
Go ahead.
Not
Yeah,
in
I go for Ridge or Klein.
Which one?
Ridge is an amazing producer. The Montebello is my favorite.
Oh, yeah.
Tom and Alicia,
Klein, we had a Klein big break, I think it was some years ago. One of the best ones I ever had in my life.
William Sellium makes some really good stuff too. They've been around for a long time. They're a classic producer. And of course, Turley too. I got a chance to meet Larry Turley a couple of years ago. Really nice guy. He and his wife Helen were pioneers in the Zinfandel movement. Unfortunately, they got divorced. They both make their own. I think Helen Turley has her own. And I think Larry Turley has Turley Cellars too. Tom and Alicia, you look like you were about to say something. What did you? Yeah, come on.
No, we made a mistake.
We were thinking about Luca wines out of
I don't
Argentina.
think she has Zinfandel.
No, I don't think she does. But
Yeah.
those Luca wines are pretty amazing, though.
Yeah, those are our favorite.
And then there's like a Luca wine out of Georgia, the country.
Oh yeah.
And then we just realized we don't know what we're talking about anymore. So we just we just couldn't figure it out.
Yeah, that's cool, man. You know,
So no.
I appreciate you making the effort, though. You know what? We don't always get it all right. There's a lot to know.
That's true.
All I care about is that you guys are enjoying yourselves and drinking the wine. And if you learn one thing, that would make me happy.
So, Mark, I really like Segasio, especially their single vineyards, Cortina and Rockpile Road.
Oh, yeah. Rockpile is a very popular parcel for making Zinfandel. As a matter of fact, who was it? What was her name? I used to work with. Oh yeah, I'm going to mess this up, so I'll just leave it be. But she was the daughter of one of the famous Zinfandel producers. She had a winery called Rockpile for a while, but it closed recently. Okay, well let's move on. And this time we're going to go to Italy. I thought it was probably a good idea to sandwich the Italian Primitivo in the middle so we can hop around here. So we're going to go to Italy now, and we're going to drink some Primitivo. Okay. So if you're confused by the label, sometimes Italian labels can be a little confusing. The producer is actually Tomaresca. Torcicota is the name of this particular wine. So Torcicota, from what I was reading and gathering in my research, is a tool that they use to comb the hair of a horse. So I don't know why they named it that, but they said, I think the tool has sort of like a gnarly kind of like curve to it. And they said the vines are similar in that respect. So I don't know, some kind of poetic license there. But yeah, the Torcicota is actually the name of this particular wine, but the producer is Tomaresca. This is a 2021, so we're going a little older. And for those of you who know wine, you know the Antinori family. The Antinori family has been around since the 1600s. One of the biggest names in Italian wine, mostly in Tuscany. But they were looking around, I guess, for places to plant grapes, and they found that the Puglia region, Apulia or Puglia region, the southernmost region of Italy, which is the heel of the boot, was a great place to plant grapes. And this is one of those regions that sort of you read about where a lot of the population fled the region after the Second World War. So this place was the southern part of Italy was a strategic location for Hitler to use to store his ammunition. His munitions and his tanks and his planes. So the southern part of Italy was used strategically by Germans in the Second World War. And for that reason, after the Second World War, a lot of people left that area. So it suffered.
Black fruit, black licorice.
I think I'm getting some mic bleed from somebody here. So forgive me if I mute you. It's nothing personal. Yeah. Anyway, so this region is very poor. They had sort of a flight post-World War II where a lot of people left the region. So a lot of the vineyards that were down there at the time were abandoned. So there are new winemakers coming in now, and they're rediscovering this region for its potential. And Primitivo grows very well down here, even though their main grape is another one called Negro Amaro. I don't know if you've ever heard of that one before, but yeah, Negro Amaro is really like their main grape in the region, and Primitivo is the second. Let's pour ourselves into this one. This is the Torchicota. And this goes higher. This one goes up to 11 as far as the alcohol content is concerned. This is 15.5%. And one of the things about the Zinfandel grape that winemakers have to be careful with is that it ripens very quickly, and when it hits ripeness, they have to pick it almost immediately because it has potential to turn into raisins right away. So this is one of the reasons why they were using it as a table grape and a raisin grape over in Long Island when they first brought it to the United States, because it makes great raisins and makes great table grapes. But when it comes to making wine, you have to be careful when you pick it, because if it gets too ripe, then its potential for making alcohol becomes too high, and you get this really hot, unstable, just like not very pleasurable wine to drink. So 15.5%, that's pretty high. And this one sees no oak at all. So they don't oak this one. They just want it to be naked, and they want you to taste the beauty of the grape on its own, unto itself. Wow, that is beautiful. It's just so complex. It's really kind of, to use a word, stewy. I don't know if you get that or not. It's kind of, it almost like tastes like stewed prunes or something. What else am I getting in there? Plum. Here's that plum again. But it's like a layer of vanilla in there.
When I
Spice.
first, so I got a lot. I got tobacco. I got like tobacco. It's kind of
Yes.
going away now, but it was stronger when I first opened it, and I got it a little bit on the bed, like a smoky. But this one definitely so.
Yes, that's it. That's what I was trying to identify. Really, that's awesome. Cherry too, definitely cherry.
Does this one taste a little more funky that first taste than the California did?
Yes.
Okay, I'm crazy, handy.
No, that's pretty astute actually.
Just a little funk too, not a lot.
Yeah, it's like almost like a, I don't know if you have animals or not, like if you guys have cats or
Yeah, we have a cat.
yeah, or like sometimes when you have a fox in the neighborhood, there's like a little bit of a muskiness, like a funkiness.
Yeah.
Like you can smell when the fox has been around. Yeah. Yeah, there's definitely, that's a quality that you find in a lot of European wines. And that is, I believe, a chemical compound called a terpene that causes that smell. I like it in small doses. You know, you get it in Syrah from the south of France quite a bit. And as the Syrah ages, it gets pretty funky to the point where people sometimes describe it as smelling or tasting like a barnyard. And people are very polarized about that description and that flavor. Some people love it, other people do not love it. Let me check the chat. It looks like there's some stuff going.
But we love it.
Okay, I haven't had the chance. Sometimes when I share my screen, I can't see this stuff. So I'm just looking back here at the chat to see what you guys are talking about. Yeah, so the one thing with wine.com in using them as a source for our wines is that I have to figure out every time I do these, I have to figure out a matrix of what's available to everybody in every region of the country. So sometimes you will get a different vintage. And you know, I'm sorry that we can't all have the same vintage, unfortunately, but that's the way their warehouse system works. But I'm glad that at least we can all get the same producers. I don't think there's going to be that much of a difference between vintages that it's going to make that much of a difference. So 2022 Bedrock, I have the 2023 here. Other people have the 2022. Is anything that we talked about or anything that I used to describe the wines, is it different than what you guys have? Yeah, it looks like most have the 2022. Some people, I have the 2023.
Yeah. Mark, can you hear us? We're not sure if we're too far away.
No, I can hear you perfectly fine.
Oh, excellent. We have the 2022, and we really like this Italian one. This is delicious.
Yeah, I'm a fan. I don't know if Tom, when you talked about the funkiness, I don't know if you a liker or a hater?
I would say I'm a liker, but I don't know. It's kind of like jazz music. Some types you like, some types you don't. It's kind of a personal thing.
Yeah.
And we have a local pub that has a lot of European wines that they get in, and he's got some very funky stuff. And sometimes Alicia likes stuff that I don't, and vice versa.
I like
But
more funky than he does.
yeah, so
Yeah.
it's a perfect amount, I think, for funk.
Yeah, there's a little on here, but it's not like a deal breaker for me.
Right, right.
Cool. But between the two, between the California Zinfandel and the Primitivo, I hope it's at least, I hope you can at least see some differences. Can we say that much? Can you see the difference between the Zinfandel and the Primitivo?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So what if you had to kind of sum it up or describe it, what would you say the difference between the two are?
I think you got excuse me, I think you hit the nail early on, new world versus old world. The to me for that funkiness on the Primitivo, initially I go, whoa, that's really funky, but then it kind of settled in after the first sip. So, I think I'm a liker. It just caught me off guard, I think, on the first sip. And I did try them all when I was having dinner, and I made some sausage, which really went well with this one, by the way.
Cool. Did you do like a sweet Italian or hot Italian?
It was a sweet Italian, yes.
Yeah. I have this one dish that we do here, and I don't know where I got it from. I mean, I stole it from the internet somewhere, but I use it over the years, and I've kind of like built upon it. And it's just diced potatoes, some kind of sweet pepper. Typically, sometimes we'll even use shishitos if we can't find anything else. Um, Poblanos work as well, but something that's not hot. Red onions, garlic cloves, whole garlic cloves, and you just toss all of that in olive oil and you bake that on a cookie sheet or a baking sheet for about 20 minutes under 450 degrees. And then you put sweet Italian sausage on there after 20 minutes and put it back in and bake it for like another 25 minutes. And it's just like a real easy dish that you can make on a night where you don't feel like thinking too much or working too hard. And then you toss it in fresh arugula and you actually squirt a little bit of lemon juice on top of it. And the lemon juice seems counterintuitive, but it adds a bit of acidity to the dish to counter that fattiness of the sausage, and it pairs perfectly with red wines, especially rustic Italian wines. So that's something I would definitely recommend trying. It's like 5 ingredients, and it's so easy to make, and it's amazing.
It does sound like something to try, definitely over the winter.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm not a professional chef by any stretch of the imagination, but I've cooked for many, many people over the past 10, 15 years that I've been doing this. And I've become somewhat savvy with cooking. So dishes like that, it's not really complicated. It doesn't require a chef's touch. You can do that kind of stuff without that much experience, and it comes out delicious.
Yeah, that's awesome. Hey, a friend asked, I was actually showing your wine pairing ideas. Where do you come up with those? That was her question. I go, I don't know. I guess I'll have to ask him.
It's a combination of things. It's mostly off of the top of my head, but I can't take full credit for that kind of stuff because I think over the years you plagiarize stuff. You know what I mean? You've been doing. I'm going to be honest with you. For 10, 15 years of been doing this, cooking for people and coming up with meals. You go to a nice restaurant sometimes, you take a picture and you're like, oh, I got to remember that. So you steal a little bit of that. And you see a recipe that you have to cook for one of your wine tastings and it works really well. You remember a piece of that. So it's like little bits and pieces. I mean, I guess over time you would consider that to be experience. But yeah, it's just something most of the time I can come up with off the top of my head. And other times I use a little help. Like, for example, I did a wine tasting over the past weekend at a bed and breakfast. We do wine weekends where we do like 3 days of tasting at a bed and breakfast. And I used AI for the first time. And it actually came up with kind of an interesting recipe. And I can't take credit for that. I don't know where the AI got the recipe from, but it was a good enough base to work off of, and I just kind of extrapolated from that point.
That's a
So
great idea. No, I'm gonna have to
yeah,
try that.
yeah. I don't want to get off the topic or on a tangent too much, but is anybody else using AI at all?
I love AI. I've just never used it for that use, but it's like you can use it for everything.
Yeah. Do you use Chat GPT? Do you use Gemini?
I shop around a little bit. I'm still trying to figure out which one gives me the best results, but I've used both.
Yeah. I've been using Gemini more for some reason. I don't know why. But I think the mistake that people make, or the people haven't learned or understand yet, is that you don't just ask it questions like you do when you're doing a Google search. You actually have to talk to it like you're having a conversation.
Yeah, it definitely takes nuance that you have to get used to and figure out how to phrase everything.
Yes, you have to give it context. You have to talk to it. It's like almost like meeting somebody new at the bar or like at a restaurant or something like that. You have to like kind of give them your background. You have to give them the story in order for that to be able to use the information to build something for you. So yeah, it's been an interesting experience. But I just typed in I'm having a wine tasting weekend at the bed and breakfast this weekend, and I could use some fall related, autumn harvest related recipes. Like, can you give me some suggestions? And it gave me some good suggestions that I worked off of. Yeah, but the ideas are all around us. They're all around out there. I'm not inventing anything new or anything that hasn't been done before. But over time, you just kind of collect it all up in your mind, the attic of your mind, and you just pull out these little pieces every time. Okay. Any questions before we move on to number 3? Or any suggestions or thoughts?
Well, so far, number 2 is the winner because I poured equal amounts of each one and I actually finished this one during our chat.
Either that or the alcohol is starting to take effect.
We'll go with that too then. 50-50.
Yeah. Okay, so we are going to move to the Marietta. Last but not least, this is 2021. The reason I went here was twofold. I wanted to go from California to Italy to California. And also, this is the older one. I like to go young to old, usually when we do these tastings. So I don't know much about Marietta, honestly. I wish I could pretend like I know something about them. They've been around since 1978, which is really strange because never heard of them up until this tasting. Does anybody else know about these guys? Have you been to the winery? Have you visited the winery? No. Okay. So sustainable farming practices. This is the same idea as the prior winery that we were talking about. It's becoming a reality in the wine industry because of climate change. We are seeing more drought. We're seeing more extreme weather. Wineries, farmers in general. If you speak to a farmer, if you have a farmer in the family, if you know somebody who works in the agricultural industry, chances are they're going to tell you that the environment for growing whatever their produce of choice is changing. It's not a hypothetical. It's not an opinion. If you grow something in the ground, if you farm for a living, you're noticing changes. So sustainable practices are becoming more prevalent across the wine industry now because of scarcity of water, more extreme weather, hotter temperatures. Everybody who works in the wine industry is seeing these, especially in California, more wildfires, more drought. So sustainable farming practices are merely trying to mitigate that, using less water, not using pesticides that destroy the environment and kill beneficial predators and insects. So you're going to see a lot of this as we go along, especially in California, which is very progressive. So these guys have been around since 1978. They have about 400 acres of vines. This is an interesting wine because it's a blend. It's not 100% Zinfandel. One of the reasons why I wanted to include it here, it's got a little touch of Petit Syrah and a little bit of Barbera, which is really interesting. Barbera, an Italian grape from the northern part of Italy. Yeah, you don't really see that being grown in very many places. I was down in Temecula with my wife probably about 10 years ago now at this point, and we were seeing some Barbera in Temecula. Has anybody here been to the Temecula wine country?
Yeah, my sister used to live near there. It's interesting,
But it's been a while.
but it's been a while.
What did you guys think of it?
Well, I kind of thought of it like a lot of places that have wine. I thought they were surviving more on the ambiance and the place and the food than the actual quality of the wine. But this has been a lot. This has
Yeah,
been
we
10 years
last
ago,
we were
maybe.
there was 2008. So it's
Yeah.
been a while.
Yeah, so for those of you who have not been, Temecula is kind of like in between San Diego and Los Angeles. And the area used to be a desert. So to your experience, Terry and Glenn, it was kind of a desert, and I think they turned it into like a spa resort kind of destination. So I think a lot of the wineries there are relying on that secondary business to kind of keep them afloat. It's a nascent region, so the wine is okay, but not great. But yeah, they were growing a lot of Italian varieties down there, including Barbera. That was my point. So Barbera is an interesting choice. Probably added for a little bit of acidity because Zinfandel can be a little soft sometimes. And Petite Syrah is probably for some body. Wow. Now this one, out of all three, I think to me embodies that jelly jar, kind of like that jam that we were talking about the most. It's just like kind of pure and clean. If you opened up a jar of jelly, like combined fruit preserves, like berries, blackberries, raspberries, this would be that.
I got a little peach.
Really? You know what?
Yeah.
That's
It's
a
like
pretty
the peach
amazing
skin or
observation.
something.
Yeah, yeah.
We got orange too, but maybe it's the same thing, just a little different way you smell it.
Yeah, it was like orangey.
Like orangey even, but maybe peach too. You're right. It's the same kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah. It's like there's like an orange peel kind of thing on the nose, but there's definitely like Karen's point, there's like a peachy kind of thing going on in there.
Yeah, it's interesting because I've had Zinfandel before. I've had the jammy ones, and I wouldn't, by comparison, none of these are jammy to me. So I've had jammy ones that taste like you're drinking Welch's grape juice.
Yeah.
I'm not getting that with any of these.
No, for me it was more on the nose, but the palate is completely different, especially with that sort of peach fuzz, orange, tangerine kind of thing going on.
Was this the one from the Lodi?
No, this is not from Lodi. This is sourced from once again from several different vineyards.
That's right. You did say that.
Yeah, these guys are doing sort of a similar thing, where they're building relationships with local farmers and sourcing their grapes from other parcels of land. And over time, as they build these relationships, they're acquiring them or building working relationships with them so that they can claim these vineyards to themselves. It's a little bit of a kind of an acquisition, corporate acquisition kind of mindset, which I'm not really sure I agree with. But that being said, it's good wine. Yeah, that's an interesting one. And I think it's not the Zinfandel. I think it's the Petite Syrah and the Barbera that are adding those unique qualities to the wine.
Hey, kind of on this other grapes note, a lot of the places in the Dry Creek Valley and specifically Ridge are very famous for field blends.
Yes,
they have Petite Syrah, Carignan, what's that one, Boucher, Alicante Boucher.
Alicante Boucher, yeah.
Yeah, and they're all grown together, and they just harvest them together. They don't harvest them separately, and they vinify them. And it's relative, it's especially at Ridge, but it's also common among other Sonoma guys. And it makes very interesting stuff.
Yeah, I don't know if ever. Oh, I'm sorry. Somebody else have something? Yeah, I don't know if all of you have been with me long enough to go back to the WTSO wine club. But when we were tasting with them, we did one. What was it? It was from the southern part of Napa Valley that did field blends. So field blends, anyway, the point was that field blends are an ancient European tradition. Back in the day, they would grow different types of grapes all together in the field, and they would just put them all in the same vat and crush them together and make the wine from them. And over time, as they gained experience, they would grow a certain portion of one grape, and they would grow a certain percentage of another grape, and they would work all those portions and those percentages out in the vineyard, so that 12% of the vineyard might be Merlot, 18% of it might be Cabernet Franc, 55% of it might be Cabernet Sauvignon, but that all got worked out in the vineyard, so that when it came time to harvest, they would harvest it all together and just chuck it in the same vat and crush it together. In the industry, we call those field blends. And they can be quite fantastic. And there are quite a few wineries out there and producers that produce field blends still to this day, Ridge being one of them. What was that called? Oh, it was called Dysfunctional Family. Wasn't that what it was? You guys remember that?
That's exactly what it was. Yep,
Okay.
that's it.
Yeah, it was Dysfunctional
Yeah, those were
Family.
good too.
They were. I think I probably still have one or two in this refrigerator back here. All right. I am going to stop sharing my screen now so we can just chat, hang out and chat. You have any questions, anything you want to talk about, anything you want to ask me? You want to talk about food pairings? Do you want to talk about Korozhnak Kastelanski? God, that's hard to pronounce, especially after 3 glasses of wine.
Let's talk about aging potential of the 3 wines.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I think the first one, the Bedrock, I would label that to be the most simple, for lack of a better word. Probably the most straightforward. I don't think that has much aging potential. This is a 2023. I'd say it could go for another 5 years. That would be my opinion. What do you guys think?
I would agree.
Yeah, I think it'll be good in 5 years, but I don't think it will go much longer than that. As far as the Primitivo, that one I have high hopes for. That has a lot of substance to it. It's a lot of complexity, a lot of depth there. And of course, it has 15.5% alcohol by volume. Alcohol content is always a great indication of longevity or ageability to a wine. So that one, I could think, I would guess, could go for another 10 years, maybe even longer than that. It would be a pretty funky wine in 10 years, though. Let's just put it that way. If you're getting a little funk on this thing now, it's definitely going to be, yeah, that's going to bring the funk in 10 years, but it'll be good. That would almost be the kind of wine that you could sit outside and have a cigar with, or a pipe, or nice cut of like game meat would be really good. The Marietta, I think they can go pretty long too. That's got 3 different grapes in it. That's got a lot of substance to it. And it's 14.6% alcohol by volume. So all the hallmark qualities for aging are there. I think 10 years for that one too. What do you guys think?
I'm going to go back to the Marietta, but right now I would buy more of the Primitivo. I've never had that before, but really, really liked it.
Yeah, that's a really cool wine. I like that one.
Which would be, I guess, the time for me to give you my plug, Mark, for especially for the new people. But one of the things I have appreciated over however long it's been is the way you take us to places that I probably never go before, virtually obviously, but yeah, I've never even heard of Primitivo until you brought it up. I had to do a little research just to see what it was. So thank you very much.
Oh man, you're welcome. That's really nice of you to say. I appreciate that. Um, I wish I could have gotten you guys um, been able to acquire some Tribodrag or Castellanski, but they're so hard to get. And I was looking at wine.com and they actually sell them, but there was like one left in it wasn't in every market that we're in. It was just not going to happen. Yeah, I wish I could get that because I would love to try one of those myself. But I
Terry,
thank you.
Terry and I did try them. We were in Croatia and
Years ago.
a couple of years ago, and we did try them on purpose, of course, along with the other local grapes. Mike Gergich, Gergich Hills,
Yeah.
also has a winery in Croatia on the peninsula there, right by Split. And he was saying about the same time the Davis lady came along, he said, "This looks like blah 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 from Croatia," when he saw Zinfandel in California.
Yeah, well, I know she worked in concert with two other people from Croatia
Yeah.
to get that ampelography project done. Yeah, and they're very excited and very proud about that too. Because from what I understand, the grape was literally only like one vineyard or like a half a vineyard, like a row of vines or something like that when they found it. So they really rescued that from the brink of extinction. But yeah, Mike Gergich, I think, has passed away. He passed away probably like almost 10 years ago at this point. But another pioneer in the wine industry. And I think, was he from Hungary or Croatia? Croatia? Yeah. Cool. Questions or comments or anything else, really? I mean, let's talk.
Hey, comment. I got a food recommendation for you all. With Zinfandel or Primitivo, I guess. Uh, leg of lamb or lamb chops. They are ideal together.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Ed, where do you live? I might have to move in.
We're in New Jersey. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, unless you want visitors knocking on your door at 9 o'clock tonight. I always tell people I recommend anything with a little bit of a heat to it, little spice, so chilies, stews, and cured sausages usually. Like this is a great pepperoni pizza wine, typically Zinfandel. So if you don't feel like making much of an effort, pepperoni pizza is always a sure bet.
We took your advice and we did a spicy chili and we did the cheeses too that you recommended.
Oh, that's awesome. So how was it?
Delicious.
Yeah. Did any one particular wine go better than the other?
Well, our favorite was the Italian one, but I honestly think that the last one went best with the spicy food.
Cool. Yeah, and I think you're on to something there with the third wine. I think because it's a blend and there's a little Petite Syrah in there and also the Barbera, it's a little more sweet to me, almost like a little more round or smooth. And I think that helps, that serves to work well with the spice. Just my opinion.
Yeah, I had it with like a flatbread pepperoni pizza. And I
And
thought the Marietta went best with it.
yeah, I mean, you'll find sometimes that those blends work best because you're bringing in more ingredients, you're bringing in more complexity. So there's more to work with there. So something is bound to hit with the food when you have a blend like that. Whereas the other one is 100% Zinfandel and the other one is 100% Primitivo. So it's a little bit more monolithic, to use a word. But for me, what I really liked about this tasting here was the stark difference between the two wines, number one and number two, specifically. to taste what a California Zinfandel tastes like, and then go to a Primitivo. It was really interesting. I hope you guys saw the difference as well too, or experienced the difference.
We have to head out. We're going to the theater. But
Oh,
thank
Yeah.
you for doing this, and we're glad we caught back up with you.
Yeah.
Because this has been fun.
Yeah. We'll see you
yeah.
next
Yeah.
month too.
Yeah.
What
We
do you
missed last
guys?
month.
What are you going to see?
We're going to see a drag performance of Hocus Pocus.
That's
Wow.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I got my Iron Maiden t-shirt
Yeah.
on because I'm gonna wear some black. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just 5 minutes from here. We live in St. Paul, so it's super quick. But
Mhm.
yeah, it's seatings now.
It's at 8,
We
so we
gotta
gotta go.
We gotta go.
Okay, all right, I understand.
But thank you.
Yeah, you guys have a great time, and I hope to see you for the next one. Okay.
Yeah. Definitely.
Okay. Cheers. That's cool.
Hey, a tip for everybody, travel tip. They have a thing every year called Passport to Dry Creek Valley.
Late April.
It's late April. It's two days. There are usually 40 or 45 wineries that participate, and you get a pass. And for 2 days, you can drive around to as many wineries as you can get to or want to get to. And they all have special tastings and music and food and all kinds of stuff. It's really a lot of fun. It doesn't cost very much money. Passport to Dry Creek Valley. Especially if you like Zen.
Awesome. Thank you for the suggestion. Anybody else want to weigh in or ask any questions? All right. Let me do the
Wait,
poll.
Mark,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
was paying attention when I ordered the wines, and we also got the Scott Harvey. Did
Oh,
you
yeah.
get that one too, or you have any comments on that one?
No, I don't. Did you try it?
Not yet. We
We've
did.
got-
We did these three. We have it sitting here open. We didn't try it yet.
Yeah, I'm so sorry about that. It was one of those things where I figured out which wines would be available to everybody in the group, and then at the last minute, wine.com told me that they sold out. So I had to immediately pivot and figure out a different wine, which I came up with the Bedrock. But yeah, I'm sorry if I misled you
No,
in
no
any way.
big deal. 'Cause I was on the phone with Lan, and I'm ordering it, and then she ordered them too, and she got the Scott Harvey. So, so then I ordered a Bedrock. So
All right, so you guys will have to let me know. Honestly, I wanted to try that one because I thought that one was more interesting, but it wasn't available to everybody.
It is interesting. And I've never had anything from Amador.
Yeah, and that one is, I think, multiple. If for those who subscribe to the ratings, that one is multiple 90 point or plus ratings too. So, for what it's worth.
It's really we're just now trying it. We really like it.
Interesting.
You're drinking it right now?
We had the 4 bottles, so we saved
Oh,
one.
okay.
Just giving it a try.
All
They're
right.
just showing off, is what they're saying.
Yeah, right.
no, I wasn't paying attention when I ordered.
All right. So now, Mr. Big Shot, this is the point where I turn the wheel over to you since you got the extra wine. I want to hear your professional tasting notes for that one, for the Scott Harvey.
Well, you would pick it as a Zen. It's got it's rightly correct.
Right.
It's a big wine, but it's not the same mono thing as Bedrock. It's much more nuanced, but it's big. What else, hon? Red fruit, mostly red fruit.
Red and black.
Some black fruit, but mostly red fruit.
What's the alcohol content on that one?
Yeah, I don't know. What's it say, hon?
I'm looking.
We don't have another glass.
14.5.
14.5.
All right.
Is it 100% Zinfandel?
Well, does the label say?
Somebody
Here, right here.
Oh, okay. Because
Well, you have 4 glasses.
yes, but somebody poured wine in.
It just says Zinfandel apparently.
Yeah, I think it's that was 100% Zinfandel from what I
It
remember.
probably is. It probably.
They have a little scale on the back that goes elegant to overly jammy, and it's got its little
It's on the elegant
pointer
side.
on the elegant side.
So it's like could be marketing.
Yeah.
But
No,
it's
no, I mean, that's a completely legitimate scale, I think.
yeah, it's not like the bedrock. It's not single, it's not it's more nuanced.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. I really wanted to try that one. Maybe I will. Well, I mean, for what it's worth, I hope you're glad you got it. I hope
Oh,
you're
yeah.
Yeah,
enjoying it.
would you recommend it? Maybe I'll see if I can get it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'll give it a try, sure, if you like Zin especially.
it's definitely more red than black.
Hmm.
What was that one? I don't remember. Was that like 25 or was that like 30?
She bought it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's something else. I guess, while we're here, worth mentioning, when we do these tastings, I don't know, and I don't want to get into it personally, like for whom cost is an issue. But if cost is a problem, if you're on a budget and you can't afford to buy the wines, just keep in mind that you don't have to buy all of them. So in which case I will try to make a recommendation. If we have three wines and two of them really matter, in this case, I'd say, like I would either do the Primitivo and the Marietta or the Primitivo and the Bedrock if you had to choose two. So in the future, if budget is an issue and these are too expensive, then choose two out of the three and I'll help you I'll make a recommendation to help you out.
That's great. Thanks, Mark.
Yeah, yeah. I don't want to assume anything. But I know money's tight sometimes, and prices are going up too. I'm comparing my prices year over year for my wine tastings that I've been doing, and my wine costs have gone up about 15% over last year. Mostly probably because of tariffs. I'm not 100% sure of that or not. This could be like a pandemic situation where producers are actually taking advantage of the opportunity to raise their prices too. So I can't say for sure what it is, but I know for sure when I look at my numbers that my costs are about 15% more than what they were last year. Because I do jobs with the same clients year over year, and I did almost an exact blueprint of the job that I did last year for one of my clients recently, and it was 15% more in cost. Are you guys seeing that on your end too? Are you noticing that prices are going up as far as wine is concerned?
Definitely noticing the prices going up, but hadn't really been able to quantify because I don't keep track that much. But yeah, you're spot on.
Yeah, it's up. If you don't do this as a business, you're probably noticing or feeling that it's up, but you don't know how much. For me, I can quantify that. It's about 10 to 15%. Okay, let's launch our poll here. Today we're going to do a ranking. So I don't want you to choose your favorite. I want you to rank them in the order that you think you liked it or that you liked it. I think I know which one it's going to be.
You need to write it down and hold it up right before you reveal the poll.
I will. What else are you guys pairing with the wines tonight? Anything that I didn't put on the list? Anything you chose on your own? Any recommendations? Okay. Let's take a look at the results here. Okay, this is what we decided tonight. which is what I figured. So it looks like the Primitivo was the winner. And that is what that's what I guessed would be the answer. Because I liked it too. I thought it was the standout. Let me see what else. So the Marietta came second. So it looks like there wasn't a lot of in between for the Bedrock. You guys either liked it or you didn't like it. I don't think it was a bad wine. I just think it was a little simple. Yeah, there was not a lot of complexity there.
Yeah, no beers.
All right. Thank you for your feedback. And if we have no further questions, you guys want to talk about where we go next?
Let's go, Bills.
Oh, Bills!
So we're unmuted. So mute.
Wines, regions.
Sicily?
Sicily. That's a great suggestion.
Have we done Amarone before?
No, we haven't. We
On
did
the short list.
we did with WTSO probably about
Did
2
we?
or
I don't
3
remember
years
doing
ago.
it. Yeah, actually, we had to do WPSO. Otherwise, I wouldn't have any Amarone in my cellar. So you're right.
Yeah, I mean, we could do it again. I think personally, I think Sicily would be really good. We have yet to do Germany. So Germany would be kind of an interesting place to go. The thing with Germany is that we're not going to get, we're probably not going to get reds. It's going to be whites.
So if we're doing Germany, we should do that soon because after it cools off, I'm not in the mood for too many whites.
Right. Well, I think we're already we're cooling
I'm
off.
there, but yeah,
Yeah.
I'm ready to put Germany off till spring. But yeah,
I'm just thinking of regions that we haven't covered yet and the regions that are going to be accessible to people in the group. If we go too obscure, it might be hard. Did we do Greece? We didn't do Greece yet.
Mark,
and
what
there's
were some of
Greece,
the
there's
places-
Georgia.
What were some of the places we talked about or themes that we talked about last time? It seemed like we had all sorts of ideas flowing at the last one.
Yeah, we were going to do whites for the last. At the last one, we were suggesting whites because it was still, we're kind of in summer at this point. But then we came up with the idea of doing Zinfandel, and that kind of took over and took.
And good choice, by the way.
Yeah.
Mark, have we done New Zealand yet?
No, we haven't. New Zealand would be really cool.
There's really a lot of good wine there, not just sad.
Yeah. Yeah. So we did Australia last month. New Zealand, we could do also like a variety theme too. We could do Pinot Noir from different regions. Pinot Noir, you can never go wrong.
Yeah, we did Pinot.
And they make good cab up in what is that, Hawke's Bay, up at the north,
And Syrah.
and Syrah.
Yes, there's that.
Some
of you, here's a thought.
Yeah.
Maybe not for next month,
but
maybe
even
definitely
like this
November, but
one.
would be Thanksgiving type wines. Things that go with the turkey and stuff like that.
Oh, there you go.
That'd be fun.
First thing
Gewürztraminer.
I put it over there.
Okay, you didn't have one, huh?
Yeah.
Ah.
Still have the closet.
That would
how
actually
about,
be very
how about
nice.
Finger Lakes Rieslings?
We were just there last week.
Yeah, our friends were too.
We had a blast. There's a lot of good wine in the Finger Lakes now,
Yeah.
and especially they're doing really
Dr.
good-
Frank, baby.
Yeah, they're doing a good job with Cab Franc too. By the way,
Would you guys be interested in doing the Riesling tasting in October?
I
Yeah.
would always do a Riesling tasting.
That could be fun.
Okay, I'm just asking if that does it feel like a comfortable fit. I love Riesling too, and Finger Lakes especially would be really cool to cover. But does that feel like it belongs in October?
To me, not so much, but I'm pretty easy when it comes to being persuaded.
Okay. Terry and Glenn, did you have a good time in the Finger Lakes?
Oh,
We had a
wonderful.
blast.
First of all, it's just a fun experience. There's so many big farms, beautiful farms, and it looks like Sonoma like used to look like 20 years ago, where there are the vineyards, but they're around the lakes, and everywhere else is big farms.
Mark, Weimer was doing a lot of Blaufränkisch too. They had a really good Blaufränkisch.
Did you get to Standing Stone by any chance?
Yes.
Yeah, we did.
Mhm.
What did you think of it?
Well, it's a great location right on the lake. We like the Weimer wines better, though.
Standing Stone is actually owned by Herman Weimer.
Yeah, I know.
But they had different wines.
But they have different wines.
But you like the Weimer better?
Oh,
Well,
we did.
Yeah, the Weimers were great. And part of the problem too was the guy at Standing Stone, we asked him some questions and he just talked. He didn't know any, he couldn't answer our questions.
Okay, so you had the experience was not so much.
Plus, Weimer's really good.
Yeah,
I mean they're really good.
Did you get
both
to?
of them were really fun because they'd give you the wine in little carafes and you pick how many you wanted, and then we're comparing them and trying them again. And they had a Blaufränkisch rosé and a Blaufränkisch, or a couple different Cab Francs, or a bunch of Rieslings, and it was really fun.
It's a really fun place to visit, and it just for all the experiences, not just the wine.
Yeah, I love the area. It's very rustic. It still has a little bit of that 1960s, 1950s, like Parks and Recreation kind of like feel to it.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. It's a little rough around the edges in some places, but like you said, the community there is very, I don't know, normal. Is normal the right word? Just good people.
Right.
Yeah, and all the Mennonite farms, and Forge is really good too. Forge cellars, they're really good too.
Like you said, it's like Sonoma before Sonoma started, like
truly
inhaling its own fumes.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And it was a perfect time of the year to go.
Yeah, it was like 75, 77 and sunny every day. It was great.
Yeah. We were there in July last year, and we had a great time.
Yeah, and the quality of wine is definitely improving.
Yeah, because
especially the red.
We were there 7 years ago, and there was a big difference.
It's moving exponentially. I would definitely agree with that. Mm-hmm. Okay, so anyway, any other ideas? Any other thoughts or suggestions?
I'm always a fan of anything Washington State.
Oh, fine. Yeah, sure.
We've done Washington
Sure,
State.
I'm not sure we've done Washington State.
No, we did Oregon, but we haven't done Washington.
It's been a hot moment. We did it definitely with WTSO with Weather Eye. I think maybe only Weather Eye might be the only thing. We have done some Red Mountain stuff, but I can't remember.
All right, we got a thumbs up from Sarah, Tricia, and Jack.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so Washington. I'm looking at Finger Lakes. I like the idea of Thanksgiving themed wines.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's pretty doable. We could do different styles of Pinot Noir too.
Yeah.
Yep.
And New Zealand. Cool. So we have plenty of ideas to work with. Any others?
Malbec from different regions. Argentina, France.
And Karen got 2 gold stars tonight, so she probably gets the last vote.
I'll drink anything.
So yes, Malbec from France is definitely something I think everybody should get the chance to experience. If you did not know, it comes from France, and the Malbec from France is definitely different than the one that you're familiar with in Argentina.
100%.
Okay, cool. As always, I can always rely on you guys for great ideas. Sounds like we have a few of them here. And I could even send out a survey if you guys want, and we can take a vote. But I don't think we need to. I think it's just a matter of like combing through the wine.com inventory and seeing what's available to us.
Right.
And, I think we would all, this is a pretty laid back group here. I think everybody would be happy with any of these themes. Am I right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. As long as we're getting together and drinking wine together, that's all that matters.
I think that's all that matters. Absolutely.
Cool. All right. Anything else before I go?
Yeah, as always, thanks. Appreciate it. Appreciate the history, the learning, the tasting, and the company.
Same. Yeah. Yeah, you guys are great. I look forward to these every month, and I'm really glad to see you over and over again. Thank you so much for this continued support. As I was saying before, if I don't get you for referring a friend, let me know. I do miss these things sometimes. It's not intentionally. So let me know, and I'll get you your discount for the next tasting. All right. Thank you so much, everybody.
Awesome. Thanks, everyone.
Have a good one.
Thanks,
You
Mark.
too.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Take care.
All over the world.